Good afternoon. I am Andrea Chisholm with the Midday News. Special welcome if you're watching on onespotmedia.com. A reminder as well that you can download our One Spot Media app in the Google Play Store or the App Store. That's the number 1 followed by the words Spot and Media. Residents of Crawford Street, Mount Salem, St. James are this afternoon accusing the police of killing a man in cold blood. It's alleged that the police killed Rupert Johnson, otherwise called Shinehead, at his house Wednesday morning. Residents who claim Mr. Johnson is an innocent man blocked the road with burning debris. Mr. Johnson's aunt, Winsome Brown, explained what happened.
This morning when the police then come, they start to fire shot from out of the gate there, so. And then they run round and go and kill my nephew in our house and wrap him up in a sheet and come throw him in the van and drive away with him.
Ms. Brown said her 15-year-old daughter was beaten and taken away by the police. She added that her daughter should be in school and not at a police station because she is sitting CSEC exams.
And then now they beat up my daughter and put my daughter in a van and kick him.
And lick him back him.
And the police guy they kick him. And the police boy kick him and they draw my daughter. See they have him in a van down there, so someone want justice about that.
Protesting residents also slashed the tires of 3 police vehicles which were on the scene. Last week, the police were also accused of killing a man in Golden Heights, Green Pond, St. James. 1 man is dead and 19 persons in hospital following a motor vehicle accident in Burwood, Trelawney. Dead is Jermaine MacDonald, a construction worker from St. Mary. Reports suggest a coaster bus was carrying passengers around 4:30 Tuesday evening when it ran off the road and overturned. The driver fled the scene. The police say speeding was a factor in the incident and are appealing to the driver to turn himself in. 7 persons are now in hospital following a 2-vehicle crash on the Longwood Main Road in St. Elizabeth about 4:30 this morning. The crash involved a public passenger bus and a delivery truck with beverages and water. Driver of the bus, Hopeton Tulsi, described the moments leading up to the crash.
Reaching a part of the road that is past Glencoe. There was a coming around a slight left-hand corner. Then there was a truck coming in opposite direction and he started to come across on my side. I served further left and the truck hit the right side of the bus, the front and the right side, and go over, turn over on the right, down in a precipice.
Corporal Howard Richards of the Santa Cruz Police, who processed the scene of the accident, gave an update on the status of passengers.
As a result of this, about 6 passengers, to include 1 in the truck, received injuries and was taken to the hospital by passing motorists. It appears that there was no fatality.
The National Strategic Action Plan to address gender-based violence is before the Human Resource Committee of Cabinet for consideration. Portfolio Minister Olivia Babsy-Grange gave the update yesterday during her sectoral presentation to Parliament.
The plan we are proposing, in that plan, the establishment of a minimum of 3 regional emergency centers within the next 2 to 3 years for women fleeing violence and unsafe living conditions. We will be announcing the members of the Gender Advisory Council to provide direct oversight for the implementation of the National Strategic Action Plan.
The Bureau of Gender Affairs has also collaborated with the United Nations Population Fund to develop an online platform to raise awareness about gender-based violence. In the meantime, the Women's Center of Jamaica will broaden its outreach programs.
The entity will be able to expand the facilities, courses, and support mechanism which it offers and has become the lifeline to 1,000 adolescent mothers and their babies. We will be taking steps this year to improve the academic component of the program so that it will be able to qualify as a complete educational institution.
The Sexual Harassment Bill is also being amended to better protect men and women from unwanted sexual advances. Meanwhile, changes are coming to the Legal Deposit Act. The act stipulates that publishers of literary, audiovisual, sound or film recordings should place copies of their work in the country's national depository. That's based at the National Library of Jamaica and seeks to preserve aspects of Jamaica's culture and history.
The proposed amendments will foster greater access to publications by allowing the deposits to be made electronically. There has been consultation with a wide cross-section of publishers before developing our proposals, which we expect to debate in this House during this year.
The Health Ministry is to spend $81 million to increase vector control activities across the island following recent flood rains. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Sansia Bennett-Templer, says increased fogging, oiling and other vector control activities are being carried out in the most affected parishes. Mrs. Bennett-Templer spoke yesterday at a meeting of Parliament's Infrastructure and Physical Development Committee.
The areas that would have been most affected would have been in St. Anne, where additional oiling and fogging was done, Pedro River, Douglas Castle, and Key Valley. Clarendon, Maypen Township was very badly affected during the first flood rains. Since then, North Clarendon, Pennant, Bog Hole are areas that have been given special focus and attention because of the conditions there.
She says the ministry will shortly begin fogging and other activities in Portland as previous efforts were delayed due to persistent rainfall. The authorities in St. James say rat infestation in Montego Bay has reached crisis level. As a result, plans have been outlined for a 5-month rat control program which began this month. Chief Public Health Inspector for St. James, Lennox Wallace, says specific areas in Montego Bay will be targeted.
Based on technical assessment, the clock area of Barnett Street and all streets running off Barnett Street, right down to Dead End and the town centre. Spaces that we believe that is most affected includes both craft markets, one on Harbour Street and the Old Fort Market. We will come next week Thursday, we will be starting a night drive where we will use the public health law to effect remedial measures to all properties that falls below minimum public health standards, including closure.
He says health authorities will monitor areas where the rodent control program is being carried out. That program is set to cost $15 million.
We have so far gotten $5.5 million, and we'll be targeting corporate Jamaica to come on board through the Chamber of Commerce to assist us in eradicating these rodents. We would have got some certain commitments that we want to say no, but I'm sure that by the end of this month we will have had all monies on board to have this program be a success.
Transport Minister Mike Henry has begun the necessary steps to implement what he calls the integrated multimodal transport system, which seeks to integrate travel by land, rail and sea. As we hear in this report, the process has started with the rural bus service.
The Transport Minister toured the areas where the Rural Transport System pilot project will be implemented. He listed the areas that will benefit from the project.
We're extending from Spanish Town. We're moving Maypen to Bear Hall, Maypen to Old Harbour, Maypen to Lionel Town, Maypen to Tollgate. All the routes that feed into that from the main arterial road are being analyzed in construction. But the basic point is you'll be able to move at an equal cost level across the parish and increase the reach to the schools and to the various areas of travel that already exist.
Mr. Henry adds that the aim is to equalize transport and the cost of transportation across the island. He says all taxpayers should benefit from the public service.
The JUTC is paid for by all the taxpayers of the country, but it's been confined to the Anglo-Saxon structure of the Kingston Metropolitan Region. In that context, therefore, elitism has come into play equally. And we don't recognize that public service must serve all the taxpayers. So this is a rollout of the rural-urban plan.
The Transport Minister noted that the pilot project is to be implemented this September. JUTC's Managing Director, Paul Abraham, says about 8 to 12 JUTC buses will be assigned to the pilot project.
We will be only operating on major routes, on the major arteries only. The feeder routes will be dealt with by the taxi operators and the smaller operators. We hope to roll out by the school term of September, with a soft rollout by August to test and see where we may have shortfalls or not.
Shamala Mitchell, TVJ News.
Meanwhile, the Transport Minister says there is a demand for a train service in the tourism sector. Jamaica's train services is one of the oldest in the world, and he believes Jamaica should take advantage of that. The train for the tourism sector would go to and from cruise ship areas.
The trains are rolling. They're carrying bauxite. We're increasingly needing lines for the bauxite if it grows, as it is likely to be growing. What we need to do is add cargo behind that in relation to the next development. And what you need to do is integrate that overall. So the train has the immediate effect, and the Memorandum of Understanding finishes in a month and a half, right? The trains are rolling, and will be rolling in terms of what is the most economic demand.
Mr. Henry adds that the trains will be used in the integrated multimodal transport system. The minister explains how trains will be incorporated in the system.
When we get the train running back to Maypen, Maypen will have a different stop for the train to link to the taxis, because the town doesn't permit it to be linked to the buses. The buses are going to end up on the other side of Maypen. So the whole issue must be to clear our mind of what we're talking about is a first world operation, not cutting your cloth, right, to fit the needs.
And the time now for a look at what's coming up in this evening's health report.
In the next edition of the health report, we'll look at gastroenteritis.
There are a number of reasons or factors that can cause gastroenteritis. It can either be bacterial, viral, as the two main causes. And a lot of other common illnesses can present with actually gastroenteritis being a part of it.
That's the health report this evening in Primetime News. And now for today's healthy living tip. Get your child vaccinated. Wash your hands thoroughly. Use separate personal items around your home. Disinfect hard surfaces. And check out your childcare center.
And that's the Midday News. I'm Andrea Chisholm. Join us at 7 for Primetime News. On behalf of the news, sports and production teams, good afternoon.